going today, Jera Bears? I'm Jera Sky. If you're new here, subscribe before you leave. Oh, right, that's right. You already did. Today we're going to talk about how to become an extreme minimalist. How to go from having a ton of stuff to living almost out of a backpack. Alright, let's talk about extreme minimalism. This video was requested by one of you. And let's talk about how to become an extreme minimalist. How do you get from having all this stuff, maybe you've downsized a bit, you're now maybe an average minimalist. You are living the minimalist lifestyle. Minimalism, is just a part of you now. But you're still wanting more because ultimately you would like to live out of a backpack, the ultimate extreme minimalist lifestyle. I will say for me, it has taken me like 3.5 years to get to the point where I am at, and I would say that I am pretty extreme in that almost every single thing that I own fits in this 28-inch luggage and my backpack. With the exception, I now have a fruit rack, which if I were to move, I would get rid of it unless I was driving to the move, take the van. My fruit rack and then my juicer are the only things that may not fit in here. But then again, if I downsized some of the stuff, it might fit. It just depends how good of a packing day I am having. But the fruit rack definitely would not fit. So, what does this mean? It means technically I am not living straight out of a backpack. Although most of the things that I use all the time do come from about a backpack size worth space, with the exclusion of maybe my clothes. So some questions I have for you before you even start getting yourself all worried, because I know a lot of people have the fantasy of just having the backpack full of stuff, which I think in almost some ways is unrealistic. Have you ever tried to fill a backpack with stuff with just your clothes alone? Yeah, you really have to be wearing real thin clothes, real light clothes, if you really want to just have a backpack's worth of stuff. And I think a lot of the minimalists that people do see that are living out of a backpack actually have, say, an RV or like a house where they grew up, where they have some stuff that is not exactly entirely everything they own fits in that backpack. So some questions I have for you if you think that you want to do this is why? What is the point of you being an extreme minimalist? What reasons? Would it actually hurt you if you had, say, a luggage full of stuff that you left at like a friend's house or your parents' house when you went and traveled? Would that be a big deal? Or do you have to have just that backpack? Also, what size backpack? There are multiple size backpacks, so think about that. I know the backpack that I have, I can get it to weigh about 15 pounds, and it is quite heavy, and I can't imagine all the people that have those big backpacks. I don't know how they carry that stuff around. Another question, is it realistic for you to live out of a backpack? Is that realistic for you? You make enough money via the internet that it's not going to matter that you only have that, you don't have work clothes? Because if you need to have work clothes, I don't think it's gonna work. And I'm not trying to crap on your dreams here. I'm just trying to maybe get you a more realistic portrait of what you actually want to achieve via extreme minimalism than what you see other people doing. Because some of the videos we see of other people doing, I looked at that and I was like, I want that too. And as I got closer and closer to that, I was like, this doesn't really facilitate my lifestyle at all, and I am just copying somebody because I think that that's what I want, but you never actually want what somebody else has. You always want a different version that's specially tailored for you. And that's like my whole minimalism message, is that you should never be pushing and striving to be exactly like any one person. You should be inspired by those people to do your own thing. Take some aspects of things that work for other people, utilize them in your life, maybe tweak them. Maybe the shoes they recommend are not for you. You find your own shoes. Maybe backpack somebody recommends is not for you. Find your own thing that works for what you are doing. Maybe a rolling luggage is more suited to your lifestyle because you actually don't like to backpack. That's fine. So those are some of the questions. Make sure you answer them for yourself. Really be honest with yourself. If you're not, you're going to have a harder time. Because I know for me, as I started having less and less, there was some items I got rid of that I did repurchase because I was like, oh, this didn't work then, but now I understand this is important to me, and this other thing that I did save is not. So you have to be willing to be very flexible in understanding that your needs are going to change depending on where you live. Everything's going to change, and getting too stuck on how much the stuff is, how much it looks like, is going to make you really unhappy. Because when I went on my trip to Japan, which turned into a trip around the world, and I just took that backpack and I lived out of that for 25 days, nearly a month, it was awesome. I loved it. And I came home and I had this whole Well, this wasn't jam-packed full of stuff, but this was full of stuff. And I got home and I hadn't missed any of this stuff. But now that I'm here, I do use this stuff because when I'm at the house, this stuff does facilitate my life here. But when I'm traveling, it doesn't. But does that mean I should not have that stuff? I don't think so. Traveling full-time is just not my life yet. Maybe, or ever. We don't know. So that's why I say don't get so stuck on the amount of stuff, because when you go on a trip, I definitely highly recommend, if when you go on a trip, you can just bring a backpack full of stuff. That will change your whole outlook on things. You'll see, oh, okay, I need this, but unrealistically, like if I don't have a place to sleep at night, this backpack full of stuff this is not everything I need other stuff then. So how did I get to as small amount of items as I did? Well, first off, I told you it took me about 3 years to get really pared down, to really declutter, to really just get the muck out of my life and get more focused on what actually I wanted to do and how I wanted to live in life. There was a lot of emotional and everything issues there. I had a button making business which required a lot of stuff that I had on eBay, and I had to let that business go. Not that that business was making me a ton of money, but sometimes, that extra cash here and there, that was hard to give up. But I let that go, because if I wanted to live more minimally and actually make money where I could travel more, focusing on the buttons and the amount of time and everything that took was stealing from me. Sorry, camera battery just died, had to restart. So letting go of that business was extremely difficult and painful and everything for me. It was a major growth process. And there are even still times that I'm like, I wish I hadn't given that away. But I wouldn't have got to where I am now if I hadn't given that away. And I still don't think it would be as useful to my life as I think in my head that it would. But it was extremely hard to give up. And that was something that had been part of my life for 12 years before I gave it up. 12 years before I gave it up. Incredibly hard to give up. And how did I do it? I made a choice, and I decided to stick with my choice. And I also decided that if I was going to give that up, I was going to make a promise to myself that I was going to be more successful without it. And so far, that has been true. So let's get to the meat of this video. All right, so after you've been a minimalist for a while, this is what helped me the most, and this is what game changed everything for me. When I decided to move to Hawaii, I told myself I am not going to mail anything to Hawaii. Everything I want to bring needs to fit into this suitcase and my backpack. And that's exactly what I did. So I would suggest, if you do already have some luggage that's kind of big, like this would have to be, this is not a carry-on luggage, this is a checked bag luggage if you bring it. And even when I brought this, I was terrified of checking this because it was my whole life. So I put the most important stuffs in my backpack, and stuff that, should I be lost, I would be sad about, but I would get over it because I could buy it again in there. So this is a 28-inch luggage, rolling luggage. It does expand, but everything I had, I fit in here without it expanding. Right now it's pretty empty because everything is out being utilized. There's some random stuff in here, but first tip, you want to be an extreme minimalist. And it kind of defeats the purpose if you have to buy it, if you don't already have like a pretty big luggage. Or you could buy a box that's not too ridiculously big and fit everything that you own into that box. So that would be my first tip of getting yourself to be an extreme minimalist. Buy yourself a box, or if you have a luggage, fit everything that you want in there. And this is going to take time. So I would say it actually took me about a month, or if not 2 months, of really focusing on putting everything into this box, repacking it, unpacking it, repacking it. I'm talking to you a ton of times. I did this so many times trying to figure out what worked, what fit, what could I bring, what could I not bring, what am I going to have to give up, am I okay giving that up? Is that what's going to help me? Can I rebuy this? Yes, I can rebuy this. And it was a little different because I was, like, in a way moving overseas to Hawaii, so things were just a little different. Some of the stuff that I didn't bring, do I wish I had brought? Yes, because Hawaii ended up being very expensive. If you wanted, you can watch the video of why I don't want to live in Hawaii anymore. For some reason that is getting a lot of traction right now. I do not know why, but so that's my first tip. Box thing, repack over and over and over. And this is also, I'm going to let you know, this is crazy. If you're going from minimalist to extreme minimalist and you're going to do it in really working through your emotional issues, this is going to feel crazy because you're spending a lot of time on it. And even other people on the outside might not get it. And you just have to be like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm working through my own issues right now. Leave me be. So long as it's making you happy. It's getting you towards the dream life you want to be living. That's why I say it's very important to know the reason why you want to become an extreme minimalist, or if you're putting extra pressure on yourself for no reason. Because maybe you've minimized as much as you can, and you can do all the things that you want to do. And it's okay that you have this stuff. My second tip would be, there's not going to be a lot of tips. Second tip would be, you're going to have to get very comfortable immediately being uncomfortable. Not having little luxuries you take for granted in the house. You have to give that stuff up. Are you okay being this uncomfortable? It is going to be very uncomfortable at first. Very, very uncomfortable paring down that much. I don't have a couch to relax on. I don't have a big giant bed. I don't have chairs. Well, Brandon has some chairs, but that's for the office. I sit on the floor all the time. Is your house clean enough to sit on the floor all the time? Are you going to be okay really having to strengthen up your butt and everything and your spine and your neck to sit on the floor all the time? Because unless you get one of those little fold-up chairs, like, they're not going to fit in that box or that luggage. So get ready to be very uncomfortable, because if you want to live such an extreme way, you are going to have to, the whole point of living that way, well, it's not the point of it, but the whole thing you are breaking down, this sense of comfortability. You are learning how to be more adaptable to every situation and being prepared to not have chairs all the time, not have seats, to not necessarily have all the kitchen utensils you want when you're cooking, or friends that get it, or people over to your house all the time. Things are going to be different. Are you okay with that? Are you ready for that? You have to understand things that you are giving up to live this way. It's a trade-off. You get a lot of flexibility, you get a lot of freedom, you can pick up and leave really easily, but those creature comforts of home are no longer as much a part of your life. Unless, of course, maybe you have a tiny house and you have built yourself a nice little nook. And you have a nice pre-built house that's so you don't have stuff, but, most of us don't have that. That's the dream, baby. And my third and last tip for how to become an extreme minimalist is to just start doing the thing that you want to be an extreme minimalist for. If you want to travel, just start traveling. The stuff will fall away on its own. You will leave, you'll come back, and then you won't want a lot of these things because you hadn't used them. Whatever your dream may be that you want to be that minimal for, now is the time to just start doing it without holding yourself back because you don't have the right amount of stuff. Stop making excuses, because that is an excuse. What do you want? Start doing it. That is how you become an extreme minimalist. Because if you really are meant to have such little stuff, it will happen. But it only happens when you're in motion. Sitting here stuck, trying to figure it all out, trying to prep for a life that you're not actually living is near impossible. You can only prepare so much, like I told you in the other video. You just have to start doing, start living, focusing on the things that you want and do them. Actually spend the money doing them. Buy the plane ticket. Stop making excuses, because that's what it is. Well, I need to be this minimal, or that way I could travel all around and this and that. I do it too. I'm not saying this is a you thing. This is a me thing too. I do it too. And then when I just do this stuff, I'm like, damn, that was awesome. I want to do more of that. And I make it happen. Travel is like a drug. You get a little taste and you want more of it, and you're willing to do anything for it. But if you don't have that first hit, that first taste, that first it's really hard to get going. Go and travel. You will come back and you're like, yes, okay, now I'm willing to let go of this, I'm willing to let go. You're more emotionally stable. So in order to get to what you want, you got to do the things to get there. You just got to start doing the thing you want. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. You think you need to be prepared, or you need to be more this person, you need to have this amount of stuff. But if that is the freaking most insane thing I've learned in life, is that the people who get to do the stuff that you really want to do, or you think you want to do, just started by doing it. That's how you get there. So that's just a life tip in general as well. It's not all regards to minimalism. It is a life tip. What are you missing? What do you want? Just start doing it. Especially if it costs money, start putting the money towards it. That way you see if you actually want to do it. If you start spending the money and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, you'll know faster. But you gotta start spending that money. Don't make excuses and saying you don't have enough money. I know you do. Everybody finds a way to do the things that they want to do. Everybody. People say, oh, I don't have enough money for stuff, but then they somehow come up with the money for Starbucks, for season passes, that's Disneyland. You come up with the money. You find a way to do the things that you actually want to do. You always have the money. It's just where you are putting it. Or if you're saying, oh, this is too hard, I'll give you a great quote. It's from Sarah Knight. Too hard is saying I quit before I even tried. There you go. I'm going to leave you with that. Start by doing. Book the trip. Start looking at houses if you want to buy a house. Start looking at cars if you want to buy a car. It's the only way you're going to have the fire to get rid of this stuff is if it feels like it's real, or if you make it real. Otherwise, when we're working on all the hypotheticals, it doesn't work. It doesn't always work. It only works to a certain degree for some people, and for a lot of people, it doesn't work at all. Book a trip. Just any cheap trip that you can figure out if you want to travel. Because if it doesn't matter, you want to travel, doesn't matter where you go. Book what you can afford. And there's this website called couchsurfing. It might be an app too. You can stay at people's places for free. People are willing to let you stay at their places for free. Look into it, because accommodations are usually one of the biggest expenses. And I just nipped that in the bud for you. Alright guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Put some comments in the comment section below. What step are you taking to start living the life you want to be living? What are you going to do? Are you going to book a plane ticket? If so, where? Or are you going to book a train ticket? Or are you going to book a bus ticket? Megabus has $1 fares sometimes. There are cheap ways to travel, just got to find them. There is no excuse not to travel. Or if you are thinking that you want to be an extreme minimalist, why? Why would you want to be an extreme minimalist? What is so great about having so little stuff, about being uncomfortable a large portion of the time? Put it down below. I'm interested to see what people think about this. They think about the glamour side of it. They don't think about the realistic uncomfortability part of it. All right, guys. Thank you, new people, for subscribing. You're awesome. I'm Jera Sky. Sky's the limit. Woo! How to become a... This was... Okay, so after I've been a minimalist for a while... Okay, so how did I originally... Why can't I not focus this? Sorry, freckles. I love you, freckles. Your rice is ready, sweetheart. Tip would be, is this sense of comfort to all the kitchen... when you want them. Or you... of stuff, a nice little, so book a part of your dream, just do it.